No order, some chaos, and all fun. JockWave.
Caution in your tone, Commander. I'm a fair guy, but this heat is making me absolutely crazy.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40! I ain't scared of you. Or who we thought they were. And we let them go.
JockWave.
You can't have my cornbread, that's for damn sure. And if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killer spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. Think about my cornbread, get the taste out your mouth.
Greetings and salutations. You know who it is. It's me, the King, David B, back in your ears. And I know you love it. I know you love to hear me. Yes, you dig this melodious voice. And you're going to listen to the groove, new sounds of JockWave. This is the home of freestyle podcasting. Look, we have a different way of doing things. We have no order, really, which means that we don't follow a format. We don't have any engineers. We have no producers. I guess I would be the engineer. I am the producer. I am the host. I am the show. Thank you very much. And sometimes, I was just talking to myself about this. I have some of the best conversations with myself. Sometimes, my segments might only be 10 minutes. My episodes might only be 10 minutes. Sometimes they might be 20. Sometimes it might be 45. Because, that's what I've paid for right now. The most is 45. But the fact of the matter is, this is no order and some chaos, and all fun. That's what we're all about. We like to get the information out there. I'm a sports guy who's going to talk about a lot more than just sports. But of course, what do we have on last night? We had the biggest sporting event in the country, or I would say in the country, but it's worldwide. So this is one of the biggest sporting events in the world. I don't think it's as big as FIFA. I think FIFA is the biggest sporting event in the world, or the Olympics would be the biggest sporting. So I would say the Olympics first, FIFA second, and then Super Bowl third. Something to that effect, as far as the world is concerned. I think the Olympics would be first, and then FIFA, which those come every 4 years. The Super Bowl is every year. So that's the thing about the Super Bowl. And the football, NFL, American football is catching on, in a lot of other countries. I just had a guy in my car. Yes, I'm an Uber driver. I do that. I just had a guy in my car from England, from the United Kingdom. We're going to talk about United Kingdom today, too. Probably a little later today in another episode, but had a guy in my kingdom, in my kingdom, in my car. We were talking about the Super Bowl being here in Atlanta, and he was, talking about how he, where he was from, and of course he had the accent, and it was pretty interesting, to discuss. He's like he watches it, but he's not into it as much as Americans. He's more into what football would be called in the rest of the world, which is soccer over here. So we're more into that, but he knows the American football. He knows the coaches. We were talking about Belichick, and I was telling him that I believe the Patriots are going to win, and because he was asking if I had a favorite, I'm like, I don't have a favorite, but I like Bill Belichick, so I'll be rooting for Bill Belichick to win. And if I'm rooting at all, I expect Bill Belichick to win pretty much every time he plays. But he was comparing Bill Belichick to the coach of the one of the biggest team over there was in Manchester, England. How they have the same kind of qualities. And they're both, have, created a dynasty for their, selected teams. So so we were talking about that, and like I said, American football has become it is worldwide, for the excitement that it has. But of course, you had the Super Bowl last night. The score was 13-3, which upset a lot of people. Can I just say that it upset a lot of people? You had a score of 13-3. This it bothered people. The 3-3 or 3-0 for most of I guess that was the whole first half. And then you had 3-3 for most of the game, the second half, and then the Patriots kind of just I think in Bill Belichick style turned it on at the end of the game. Now I was listening to Tony Romo commentate the game. And he was like, well, the way the score is, I think this is how the Rams wanted it to be. I don't think so. I don't think the Rams wanted it to be that low scoring. He was saying that, I think, in the first half, like, it's 3-0 the Rams. This is what I think the Rams wanted to be this way. And I'm looking at it like, you think the Rams wanted it to be 3-0? Like, you think the Rams wanted to be this low scoring, and the Rams did absolutely nothing offensively. You had the guys go into the locker rooms. You had the single best. Look, Bill Belichick is the number one defensive coordinator in the history of the NFL. I would probably say in the history of football, because I would say he can probably coach anything, whether it's NFL, college, high school. He's the number one defensive coordinator in the history of football. He is the number one head coach in the history of football, which makes him the number one adjuster in halftime. Patriots are typically a second half team. Period. They're typically a second half team. I would say in any game, the Patriots perform as if when they practice. Bill Belichick is one of those coaches that saying, "Look, I'm not." First half, we're going to, we got this script. Second half, we're going to figure out what we need to do from what happened in the first half. So we prepare for the second half. And I would think that any great coach to be in a dynasty that we see that we probably will never see again, we're talking about 18, 19 years that these guys have been at the top of their game. He coaches, I would think, like with anybody would be, he coaches for the second half. Prepare your players for the second half, not fire them up for the first. Yeah, get ready, get prepared, but know they're in a marathon and not a race. And the reason why I chose the Patriots to beat the Rams, the same reason why I chose the New Orleans Saints to beat the Rams, which they did, was that the Patriots have experience, and that experience kills. And experience will keep the youthful excitement to a low. You got to realize Bill Belichick and his ability. Well, first of all, let me just start with some stats real quick. Statistically, this is like the best defensive performance in the history of the NFL in the Super Bowl. Statistically, the best defensive performance. I think the Rams had 12 plays or something like that. They had the same amount of series I think the Patriots had 13 series, but you can't really count the last one because it was the end of the game. They had 12 series. They each had about the same amount of series. The Patriots just shut the Rams' offense completely down. And like I said, you are dealing with the best defensive coordinator. And I can't say enough. And what I've been saying for many of years on this podcast about Bill Belichick and his ability to study film and to know his opponent, to keep certain things at a minimum. When you say, well, what about last year? He played the Eagles and it was 41 to 33. Yeah, no, the game got away from Bill Belichick last year. And I think, and he's been in some higher scoring games, but the game last year still was only decided by 8 points. So you can't be like it was like some blowout. They were just kind of going back and forth. The Patriots typically have the ability to do either or, and that's the funny thing about it. No matter who's on their squad. So whether you have Randy Moss as the lead receiver or you have Edelman as the lead receiver, it doesn't make a difference. Or Gronk or whoever else the Patriots have had, Troy Brown, that it doesn't make a difference. That when I say defense wins games, the defense wins games. Period. And that's what it typically comes down to when it comes to the New England Patriots. They showed up, and people are a little bit fussy and salty about it because of the fact that it was so low scoring. I'm one of those fans who enjoyed seeing something like that. I'm a fan of football. I'm a fan of good competition. It was competitive. I liked both defenses coming out there, slugging it out. I liked the fact that it wasn't a blowout. I like that. That's fantastic. I like that they were going back and forth on defense. The almost touchdowns, the near misses, and all of that stuff. Rams, catching the ball and then getting it knocked out of their hands. These were exciting. The excitement to me. And if you didn't take that as excitement, then you're really not a football fan. But that was exciting to see. It was exciting to watch to me. You didn't know who was going to win. It was 3-3. I mean, you didn't really know who was going to win. And when the Rams, those times, caught those balls and they got knocked out of their hands, you were like, oh, you were just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But like I said, this is New England Patriots football at its best. And if you watch the 1986 Giants, if you watch the 1990 Giants against the Buffalo Bills, if you watch the 1996 New England Patriots, if you watch the 94 Cleveland Browns, if you watch these people, if you watch them, then you'll realize, if you watch some of these films and highlights and study what, and then watch them from, 98 until now. I mean, it goes without question that Bill Belichick, the New England Patriots, are nothing short of the best team probably in the history of football. I'd have to put them up there. I might as well just say it. You heard it here first. Or second or third or fourth or fifth. It doesn't make a difference. But you heard it here on JockWave, home of freestyle podcasting. The sports guy who talks about a lot more than just sports. I am King David B. And this is JockWave. I'm out.